Let's move on to something completely different. A Hat in Time is a game I kickstarted 4 years ago. Sure shit wasn't yesterday. I can actually look it up really quickly to tell you, because that's kind of what I was writing a thing about these games I've kickstarted that it's taken so long for them to come out. I kickstarted this game in June of 2013. That's not exactly a quick turnaround, you know? If you're gonna talk about that, it's not quick, especially when you go on their Kickstarter page and it's like, oh yeah, you'll get the game in like February 2014. And I mean, 2.5 years late, but whatever. What we got here with A Hat in Time is kind of, I've heard some rumblings about this, like this is what people wanted from Yooka-Laylee, and I liked Yooka-Laylee. I quite enjoyed it. But there's something about A Hat in Time. It's this weird, delightful fun it has with itself. It's the cutesy nature of getting these hats, and you get these different sprays or whatever, different dyes, so your hair color and your outfit color change, so you're not this drab, lame lady. And it's all cute. It even says it in the game. It's like, oh, you can win cute prizes. I'm like, I would like cute prizes. Yes, let's do the cute prizes. This sounds like fun. It has this soul, this spirit to it, that while I still think Yooka-Laylee's good, Yooka-Laylee went too long. It didn't need to be, ambitious is the wrong word, but it didn't need to cover so much ground with what it was doing. It really just needed to kind of be what The Hat in Time was, which was 12 hours maybe to 100% it, maybe 10, 12. I have to look at my Steam save, and it was awesome that entire time. The only part that I was annoyed by was trying to find the last thing I needed to collect, but everything else about it was fantastic. You talk to these mafia guys and they're so funny. Like, mafia punch man has baby. Mafia punch man with baby. Like, what? What are you talking about, mafia man? That is kind of an example of one thing. No punch, I have child. Mafia punch seagull with child. Wow, that's kismet. It wasn't man, it was a seagull. But you see the point. These mafia guys are ridiculous and fun. And it's just fun and delightful in this 3D platform aesthetic. I haven't even talked about the game. It's really just the feel of it. Beautiful. We should mention that. This is PC, max settings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. And it has so much fun with itself. And it does something very unique. There are a lot of comparisons to Mario 64. And there are a lot of comparisons. It's Mario 64 in that every single timepiece you get ends the level. Like each timepiece is its own level for the most part, and you go into it and you complete it and you leave. If you find an optional one, now you're doing that one. You're not doing the first one. You can't do both. I don't like that style normally, but I think it does it well here. It's not too crazy with, oh, you can also find the red coins, but don't get the red coins if you're trying to get at this thing, or if you're trying to get this thing. Like, no. It doesn't overlap all the goals to where you can accidentally complete one and then get booted out of the level and have to restart progress on another. But the other game it's often compared to is Mario Sunshine, and I would say it also has a lot in common with some things in Galaxy. There's the tune that plays when the timepiece pops out and you go to collect it when you beat a level is straight from Mario Galaxy, like the theremin weird noise, straight out of Mario Galaxy. And not even that, this level is Mario Sunshine. And its feel is this fun tropical feel, even when you're not in the fun tropical land. There's my favorite parts of the game, by far, are these optional time rifts where you have to find them in these worlds. So there's 4 worlds and a final fight on another world, right? And each of these worlds has these hidden time rifts that get unlocked through various means, whether it be progress or finding a certain number of collectibles, they'll pop up. You find these time rifts, and they are straight up the non-jetpack levels from Mario Sunshine. And I loved every second of all of them, except for one was kind of annoying. But Every single one. They're so much fun to platform in a way that, like, this is what Yooka-Laylee was missing. This platforming. It has this platforming spirit where you're jumping around in a 3D space, you're solving these weird platforming problems in a way that wasn't what Yooka-Laylee was. This is what I think people more or less wanted, which they shouldn't have expected from Yooka-Laylee, because Banjo was never really about platforming. But anyway, those levels in Mario Sunshine were great. And the single biggest complaint I have about A Hat in Time is that there aren't more of those levels. They have such a great aesthetic to them, where it's just these white and blue platforms that move around and floating cookies. Did I mention the game's cute? There's just floating cookies. There's nothing wrong with those levels. I love them so much. I want to petition them, just make an entire game of those levels. I don't care about this other garbage, just those levels. But the game also has something so cool and interesting going for it. So this is me in the hub world. But the first Mafia Town level, it's like, okay, Act 1, welcome to Mafia Town. Act 2, something else is happening in a Mafia Town. Act 3, fight a boss in Mafia Town. Right? So it's sections off each of the level in this open section that you can explore and find collectibles and all that. And then, oh, Mafia Town is submerged in lava. That's weird. That seems a bit unexpected. But it has fun with itself throughout these, each stage of that world. And you might think, okay, well, the next world is going to kind of follow that, right? No, the next world is you go to a movie studio, do this linear platforming section, very reminiscent of Psychonauts. Not to evoke that name, because it's good. And you do this thing where there's two sides of the world. So this is the level select for the chapter. There's two sides of this world in this movie studio. And one side is this one director, and the other side is the other director. And they're competing with each other. And you do the one guy, and it's in the city, and you have to like collect fans in the city because you're like the diva or whatever. And the other one is this train, like this great train robbery weird thing where you're solving a noir mystery and doing stealth sections on a train. And it's great. And it comes out of nowhere. And it's like, this is the second world. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then the third world is also kind of open-ended, but has its own little tricks to it. It has a spooky section. It has a very platforming heavy section. That's great. The fourth world is totally free roam. It actually just says that. It's like, okay, go nuts. There's 4 directions you can go. You can do them in any order. Just go. Each world, that's the point I'm making. Each world has its own feel and style gameplay-wise, in addition to setting and all that, and story that each world has. And they do a fantastic job with that. I haven't even touched on the hats that give you abilities, so you'll get things like, oh, I can throw a bomb over here, or I can run, and there's also wall running, which is something you do not see a lot of in games like this. Or there's one that's like, the last one you get is the ability to slow down time, which is something you don't get in a lot of games like this. One of the abilities is kind of a hidden object reveal, like those weird green crates that were on screen about 10-15 seconds ago. If you press the button there, they become solid and you can jump on them, and it lasts for a limited time. That's one of the objects you get. One of them, those little snow, you've probably seen the little the snowflake flippy boards. You get that ability, which just like slingshots you somewhere. I think that's all the abilities. Did I forget one? Oh, the other big ability is a grappling hook, which works pretty well. I think, barring a few weird jumps, a few rough around the edges, like, oh, that I should have made that. That doesn't feel right. Like, we could have worked on that a little tighten it up. But I think it was smart to get this out before Mario Odyssey, and it's pretty damn great. It just has that fun spark and feel to it, and I think, well, I touched on it at the beginning. I think people would have looked more fondly at Yooka-Laylee if it was half the length, because I spent 16 hours with Yooka-Laylee and really enjoyed it, but I still have so much left to do. Whereas with this game, 10, 12 hours, I'm done. And it was great. So smart and creative. I don't want to spoil any of its fun thing it does. I already said enough about the weird train and all that. Very creative. I think, oh, the other biggest weak link with this game are the boss fights that are overly long in certain instances or unclear what you're supposed to do sometimes. The enemies will turn blue often when you can hit them, right? And you can do like a normal on-ground umbrella attack, and you can do a homing, in-air, homing little kid girl missile attack. And sometimes it's not clear like which you should be doing, or the enemy will turn blue, but like, oh, I couldn't hit him. I had to do the jump attack. But like, why? How would I have known? But why? There are other weird things where if you get hit by an enemy in the air and then you fall and die, you'll take damage twice, which is half your HP, which just isn't fun or fair. It feels like there's HP everywhere. It's not that hard of a game, but it's not fun when you get punched in the face by something and it knocks you off the world and now you're almost dead just because one thing hit you. Like, get me punished once, not twice for the same thing. I don't like double punishments. It's same double jeopardy, right? I can't have HP loss for the same crime. I think that's how double jeopardy works. Anyway, really enjoyed it. A fan of Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, those Banjo-Kazooie. That's why I kickstarted it. I kickstarted it a year, maybe 2 years before Yooka-Laylee. We're getting it after Yooka-Laylee. Loved it. Oh, there's these badges where you can see like a treasure tracker. The grapple is one of those. Ability recharge speed is one of them. The magnet that lets you pull in all the collectibles. It's not like Banjo-Kazooie where there's 100 notes in every level. There's just gems everywhere, and there's no find all the gems. That's never an objective. There's just gems. You go back into the level, all the gems are still there. So pick up all the gems, find all the gems. Oh, I need to go back into the game and buy all the badges because I want that Steam achievement. I'm a broken person, very broken. But it's great. Very much surprised in a way of how much I enjoyed it, and it was a nice way to wait for The Evil Within 2 because those are my tastes. I want to be a cute little girl eating cookies and wearing silly hats, and I also want to hunt zombies and stab them in the head with knives. That's me in a nutshell. Just 100%. That is me. Now, if you could combine those games, if this adorable little girl could stab, so I mean, I think that's The Last of Us 2. I think that's what they're making. Yeah, do the cell shade filter over The Last of Us 2. And be Ellie killing some. That's the Hat in Time. A Hat in the Evil Within. Let's do it. Pitch it. Let's make it happen. I didn't see you stalking me. Oh, silly game.